In 2009, Kris Allen won American Idol. He beat Adam Lambert, got the record deal, the platinum single, the whole thing. And then he did something almost nobody does. He walked away. He walked away from the machine, started his own label, and then spent the next 15 years building something much more interesting than any of it. I'm Kris Vetrano, and this is The Gist. Hello and welcome to The Gist. I'm your host, Kris Vetrano, here to break down all the things in pop culture and interviewing the people that make it pop. On today's show, I'm sitting down with Kris Allen. Kris, who won American Idol in 2009, season 8, the one everyone remembers. And he did it in what might be the most understated way anyone has ever won a national competition. No big theatrical moment, no viral meltdown. He just played his guitar, connected with people, and won. Since then, he's built an independent music career entirely on his own terms. He started his own label, made music when he had something to say, and just last year released what a lot of people are calling his best work yet. Kris, welcome to The Gist. It's genuinely so good to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So I know you're in Nashville now, and I'm recording live from East Nashville with right alongside you here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're
down the street,
based
man.
here too.
Very cool.
When did that happen for you, and how has Nashville kind of changed the way that you make music, if at all?
We moved here, I guess, almost 12 years ago. I had come here. I had been here like periodically for shows and things like that beforehand, but never felt the like desire or push to move here. And then I had gotten hooked up with this producer named Charlie Peacock,
Mhm.
who I worked with here in Nashville, and I was living in Arkansas at the time. So I was driving up a bunch. And honestly, it was his idea. He was like, you should just move up here. And it was a quick decision. It made a lot of sense with our life at the moment. We just had our first kid. And traveling from Little Rock to go do shows and things like that was not always the easiest. So traveling from Nashville. So, I mean, it's pretty centrally located on this side of the country.
Mhm.
And so it made it so much easier for that. And just like being around other musicians and other writers, it just made a ton of sense. And we've loved it. We love where we live, and we love our neighborhood and the schools and all that stuff. It's been great.
Yeah, Nashville's changed a lot, even
Oh my God.
since you've been here. It's a completely different place than when you joined us.
Yeah,
We,
it's crazy how different it is. Even like my neighborhood, and we don't go very far out of our little bubble over here. We're on the west side,
Mhm.
and so anytime that I venture out, I'm like, gosh, the city has gotten so huge.
Yeah. It's crazy. And the traffic's horrible now, and used to
I
be
didn't
able to
even
zip
know the
around.
traffic. I didn't even know the traffic was bad until the other day. I dropped off our neighbors at the airport, and I was like, this is awful. I never have to drive in it. And it took me
Yeah.
forever to get there and forever to get back. And it was like a whole 2-hour excursion.
Yeah. No, it's wild, but it's a fun place to be.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, I know everyone kind of like knows the story. You won American Idol back in 2009. It was a pretty like controversial season.
Yeah.
It's kind of the one everyone always talks about. And, you and Adam and everyone always kind of wanted to pit you guys against each other. And, as I said in the intro, you didn't have this big theatrical moment, and Idol had kind of come to know, like, you really just connected with people and your guitar, and that's what fans came to love and know about you. But I think that, for today, because I think everyone's talked about American Idol and everyone's talked to you about that. And, you went on and, obviously we all know and love the first single, and I still play it all the time. And
That's awesome.
my husband was asking me, he said something about like, Yeah, he's like, you should ask him about the Tim McGraw song because I think that Tim McGraw copied him and his version's better.
That I will have to, like, I'm not going to say a name, but I was doing an interview not long after that single was gonna come out, and the first question that she asked was like, "So why did you choose to cover a Tim McGraw song for your first single?" And I was like, "I didn't. You need to listen maybe to the song."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That wasn't a great. That wasn't. They didn't
It's
do a
okay.
lot of
She's
prep.
actually amazing, and we are close, so it was it was fine, but it was funny in the moment for sure.
Yeah. No, but everyone kind of knows that story. I think I would love to dive in a little bit more about like kind of since because like I know like Jive Records dissolved and, a lot of people would look at, this opportunity of like what would independent music be as kind of like a plan B. And you with DogBear Records, your label, like I'm wondering, like, at what point did you not look at that as a plan B and really start like taking control of your career the way that you have?
Yeah, so that first record, you sign this record deal and it's like a 5 album. I mean, there's a lot to say, but this is a long answer, so I'll try to keep it as short as possible. But that first thing that you sign is like a 5 album, contract. And so we did the first one, and then Jive like disintegrated. And we knew some of us that were on there were gonna get moved around or dropped. And so they moved me over to RCA, I think because of probably one person in particular. I I do think that I had someone that was really looking out for me over there named Joe Riccatelli, who's just like one of the greatest people that I've met in this business. I've met some interesting people
Oh yeah, sure.
and some really great and some fine and some not so great. He was like one of the like top tier people that I met in the music business part of things. And I think he really I think he kind of like saw a vision for it and also he just believed in me, I think.
Yeah.
And I think still does. So he took me over to RCA and then I made a record there. But that one was so interesting because right when I put out that second album, my management contract was ending.
Mm,
And then also the label was getting a new president.
mm,
And so they weren't doing anything for me. It was very interesting. And so I was like, so we were having to do everything on our own. And even in that time for that second album. And so I learned a lot. Like if I'm gonna do this, there are certain things that I have to do on my own. And not by myself, but like with the help of the people around me and the people that care about me. Like I surrounded myself with people that I really loved and cared about, and they fought for me and did things for me that I didn't even know to do. So after that, I was like, I think I just learned a lot, and the idea of trying to find another label felt weird and maybe like it didn't make sense. And I I felt like with the labels, I was always having to prove that the things that I was giving them was good enough.
mm.
And it just got exhausting. And so I was willing to like take that chance on that third album and just kind of do it my own.
Yeah.
And it was weird. I mean, we learned a lot through that too. It's like we learned so much. Like first of all, that if you're fronting all of the money for everything, you start to go like, should we spend this? Whereas like
Mm,
the labels are collectively spending way too much money, especially at that time.
yeah.
And
Especially
so,
with the American Idol kind of
yeah,
machine behind it too. Yeah. The
I think I still have like a book that's this thick of the expenses for the first album, and it
wow.
was wild. I remember
Yeah.
because I didn't look at it I didn't know it was happening while it was happening. And then we got like some sort of expense book afterwards. And I was like, I have to hang on to this because this is absolutely insane. The amount of money that you guys are spending just to like make music.
Yeah. I mean, it's also probably really good that, like, now you have a label and you're doing this independently, like, you have that insight of, like, this is what that took, and I think, like, not a lot like, there's so many people that get thrown into those types of machines, and they never think about what's in that book, and they never think about how much it is actually costing, and, like, at least you have the insight to know because that's probably helping you as you're kind of navigating music now.
For sure. I mean, I think we probably went too far into the let's not spend money. Like we
Mm,
can just guerrilla style this on that first album. And so we learned like, okay, with the next one, we need to do this. And we just like, it's just, it's always learning and the times are changing. And so you're like trying to spend money on different things or trying not to spend money because of
yeah,
social media. Cause social media maybe was different in 2014 than it is in 2026, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I feel like it's always just trying to learn and figure out what's best for the project and what's going on right now. And financial situations or whatever, you know?
Yeah. And, you put out Letting You In 2016, and then you took a gap. There's a big gap of time before you just release Pole Vaulter. And, what I know that there's been, like, talk of, like, you kind of were working on that album over this time, and, people are saying that this is one of your best pieces of work that you've put out. But what was really going on kind of like in that gap? Like, was it part of this as you're talking about, like, everything kind of was changing, it was harder to put out the music, it was like TikTok and socials started coming up. I know obviously COVID happened during that time, like, take me a little bit into that gap year or those gap years.
Yeah, yeah. I would say years. I think we spent a lot of time. I did play a lot of shows around that time, but I think there was a lot going on at different times. I think COVID happened and that was very weird.
Mhm.
I had started probably writing for whatever the pole vaulter was going to be, which I didn't know what it was going to be at that moment. I had started writing before COVID happened and then COVID happened and it was like, what am I doing? And then everything kind of got like really pushed back and probably more pushed back than I wanted it to. And I'll blame myself for that. But I also think that I had family wise, there's a lot going on too, like in a good way. We have 3 kids and my wife runs a company. And I think for so long that while I spent so long on the road and, she would have to do a lot while taking care of the kids. And so she has dreams and aspirations herself. And this thing that she's started has kind of blown up. And so I think that I'm not saying that she's like asking me to take a step back, but there are more things that I have to do in our family. And in a way, I really enjoy that. Like I enjoy doing dad stuff. Like I love it.
I know, that you mentioned that there was, like, during COVID, you started writing, and you started writing stuff about, like, the stuff you haven't said yet. And at that point, you had put out records, and you had shared a lot. I mean, you shared your life on one of the biggest programs in the world. And
Hmm.
what was it about COVID that and obviously, like, I know about the crash in 2013.
Hmm.
Like, you know, what was it in COVID that you were feeling like you were able to express and go there kind of for the first time? And was it COVID that really brought that out?
I don't know if it was COVID specifically. I think that time and like the ability to slow down probably brought some things out
Mm,
and made some things like more evident in my own life. I think that yeah, just like the quiet of it, like really, really made me think a lot in that way. And I again, I think also just learning that like what a like the stuff that like I really look up to in other artists is them being genuine and real. And not that I wasn't doing those things before, I think I was, but I think that it's just growing in that and trying to get better at that like and realizing that that's a good thing to do those things instead of like guarding myself, which I can do that pretty easily.
yeah.
But I think giving that side of myself to the songs and to the writing and not being afraid to say things, not wondering if it's gonna like connect with other people because I think I've just learned that if it connects with me, then it is probably connecting with other people.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting that you mentioned like not feeling afraid to kind of just be real and share and put those kind of themes on the album. And I know you also mentioned that there's some addiction content on the album, but you also mentioned that it's kind of like masked in
Mhm.
the songs. Like, is that something that you intentionally are doing because you don't feel like you can share your full story with your fans, or is there something that like maybe you want to continue to explore and maybe that's future music?
I don't know yet. I mean, I think that certain things I like to keep in whatever circle I'm in, and then I don't know. I don't know yet. I have no idea. It's a good
Yeah.
question though. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean,
I don't know where that's going to take me.
the in terms of how you're going to kind of reveal more of that story through your art or music.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so even right now, like I've got songs that are not out yet that I'm like that probably speak to some of those things, but it's not like I'm not saying them specifically, but they are. I think the songs feel very like genuine and real, and especially about whatever I've gone through in my life or in the past 10 years or however long. But I don't think it's like it's not like spelling everything out, and I don't know if I ever have to do that with. I just wouldn't want the songs to be. Yeah, I don't know.
Are you worried about it being dark?
No, I'm not so worried about it being dark. I just don't know if I like being genuine. I just don't know if like what I specifically have, maybe alluded to is like for everyone to hear, you know?
For public consumption?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, I
not.
think
I think some
yeah.
people would probably feel really comfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I push on this. This is a topic. It's close to me. I've been in the music industry for many years on the management side. I don't
Yeah,
do it anymore because now I just want to like talk to artists and
man,
I don't want to have to be thinking about
I
like
feel you.
yeah, I don't want to have to like worry about you to that level, but I want to be able to connect and talk and so I like doing this rather than that. And but when I was doing it, I worked with an artist and we put out a record around the kind of theme of addiction and really about the process of coming out. And it was really this incredible story that like it did exactly what you were just kind of talking. It didn't like spell things out in a
Yeah.
salacious TMZ clickbaity kind of way, right? It's like it's telling your story in a way that like fans or people that are listening to those songs like can actually relate to and connect with. And some of it is like sad and some of it is like tough and you know but being that kind of like real, I think is something that your fans and certainly like I like have come to know about you and your music. And even looking back at the American Idol days, like
Hmm.
I think one of the reasons you won, if not the reason you won, I mean, obviously your talent, let's start there. But I think the other reason is like you really did connect with the audience and people really felt like they were rooting for you, that you were their neighbor, their son, their, you
Hmm.
know, they were your coach. Like I think truly connected. And so, I saw that you had said that had kind of masked this and that maybe someday you'd talk about it and not, but, and I wondered, like, I wonder if that is a result of oversharing maybe through the American Idol days or like being so public and being so where you do feel this like obligation to share certain things, or if it's something else that just is like you kind of want to just keep to yourself and keep private and what that kind of looks like.
Yeah, I think I struggle with that so much, like this idea of I think I really like being a private person. I like not that I like am a stay in my house all the time. I'm out.
Well,
I'm
you
not
did
doing a
say
lot.
that you did say
I
you
don't
stay in
go
your
very
bubble.
far. I stay in my neighborhood maybe.
Okay.
But I'm out. Like I see people. I'm not like a curmudgeon or anything, which is
Yeah.
fine if that's what you are. just can't even remember what I was gonna say. I just feel like I like the idea of privacy when it comes to people knowing my business or my family's business. And I'm probably more private about my family than I am myself because like and I've said this from the very beginning to friends and whoever, like the moment like you can say whatever you want about me, I am fine with that. It does like it may bother me some, but I can get over it. But like the moment you say something about somebody in my family, I'm not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm like a I probably become the worst version of myself in that way. And so I try to keep my family off like social media and things like that because like we're all flawed and we all have things and my family's not perfect in any way. And so I like the idea of being private, but I also want to connect to people.
Hmm.
So to do that, you have to like give them some version of yourself or like some part of you and to like do, but I also don't want to give them everything because I like to be private. And
Yeah.
so there's that struggle of like how much do you give and do you spell things out? Do you reveal things that maybe you wouldn't reveal? You know, I don't know. It's very it's a I talk about it I think about it a lot. And sometimes that struggle of even just that specifically like keeps me from doing anything sometimes, you
Hmm.
know? Keeps me from being on social media because it's like, do I really want to post something because I like kind of being private and I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. I mean, it is an interesting thing to think about because also with the crash, obviously you for listeners, like you were in a bad accident, and that was New Year's Day, right?
New Year's Day
In
2013.
2013, and your wife was pregnant at the
Mhm.
time, and you were told like you shouldn't perform,
Mhm.
and you shouldn't go on tour, and I think it was like 4 days later you were back out on tour, and so it's like this juxtaposition hearing you talk about it because it's you're back on tour doing those things for your fans. You've never missed a show. And on the other hand, like you're almost like saying like you're being protective of your family more so than you are clearly protecting yourself. Because in that
Is
moment,
this
doctors
therapy
didn't
right
want.
now? What is this? What are we doing?
I know we got deep, but I was like I
I'm
gotta
fine
know
with it.
more.
I need it. I'm fine with it.
I was like, I feel like I want to know more about like this the themes of the record and understand it better because I think that I would and I would relate and also like I think that it is like the fact that you are doing all those things. It's like wow, you're so giving. You're you're not even willing to like go listen to doctor's orders
Mhm.
and instead you're gonna go out and keep performing. But then there are things that you're like, and you take this long break. I think what did we say 2016, so almost like 8 year break from
Yeah, a
music
little
or
bit.
from releasing records. And like, that's where I'm like, that's why I kind of asked earlier, like, did something happen in that gap year that like, or I keep calling it the gap years
Yeah.
that, that like transformed where you were like, maybe I am going to be a little bit more reserved coming into this new record, or maybe that
I
part of you always existed.
I do think that I don't exactly know. I feel like wanting it to be the right thing did was a part of it as well, like wanting the songs to feel right. And it was just a lot of the times it was just me and my producer Andy Skibb doing stuff. And so there was no like studio constraints or time constraints. So we could go in and tinkle as much as we wanted to, which is sometimes the worst thing to do. But I had never done anything like that before where it was just two people being creative in a room and I really really enjoyed it. And I've never had more fun making music that way. I do think it took us a long time. I It took me a long time. I don't think it took him very long. He's insanely fast, but it just took me a long time to feel like great about what I was putting out. And I think there was also this idea that it had been so long. And I think I wanted to prove myself, I guess, probably a
Hmm.
little bit as well. Like prove myself in every way in the production and songwriting and making sure we had content ready and it just feeling like the most me thing. And I do think that that had something to do with the amount of time that it took. There was a million different factors for the gap year. It yeah, it was that. It was like my own pride probably that got in the way of some things. But I think it actually was not the worst thing. Me like, telling constantly asking myself, "Do you love this?" Because if you don't, then we need to like not go back to the drawing board, but like what do we do to make you love this? And I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
It, because I think I have gotten in other projects I'd gotten to the point where I wasn't listening to myself in that way. I was listening to other people and I didn't want to walk away from this thing going like I wish I would have done that. I wish this song would have sounded a little bit different. I wish there would have been a bridge on this song
Yeah.
because it's so easy to go like, man, this verse, two verses and a chorus, we'll like sing the pre-chorus again, party. And I like that literally has happened with those songs. Like different bridges sat as a verse and a chorus, like two verses and a chorus, and I was just like, it's not quite there yet. It happened with quite a few of those songs. Like it happened with "Don't Stop Dancing." I was like, I've got this and it feels good, but I think it needs something else. It needs to end in a way that doesn't feel that I don't have yet. Indigo was like very chordally simple, and I was like, I like this, but I don't think the music max or matches the lyric as much as I want it to. So went back to the drawing board on the chords, and I found things that made me excited. And like, it's still one of those songs that when I pick up a guitar, like it's the first thing I play because I like it. And
Mm.
so I just I think I'm a slow processor as well when it comes to lyrics. I will edit over and over again just to feel something from it because I can go into a writing session. I mean, this has happened many times where I've gone into a writing session with someone and and I leave because I don't leave like without saying anything, but like I'll be like, I think we're done because we're starting to go somewhere that I don't like,
Mm, mhm.
but just give me a little bit and I'll send you something back. And it might, I mean, could be 6 months later, and I'll send them a demo, and they'll be like, I had forgotten about this song, but like I actually really like this. And so
Yeah.
I just think that there was many factors, life, craft, not being fast.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably the balance of being independent is you don't have, you know, the machine of an RCA sort of breathing down your neck for the record to be done. And
Mhm.
because I guarantee that if they were there, that record would have been out a lot sooner, right?
Oh,
But you
yeah,
get to like create and take your time with it. But then I think the outcome is probably so much better, right? Like I know you have said many times, like, this is your best record.
I
And
think
it's
so.
probably because of that, because you've been able to take the amount of time to really get all of the songs right. And otherwise you kind of end up with the you end up finishing a song, or you end up putting something on, the record that you're like, I don't really want to perform that anymore.
Yeah, and I mean that happens so much. There are albums that I have where there are songs on the albums, and maybe this happens to everybody, but like there are plenty of times that I've recorded songs that I was even in the moment I was like, I can't I don't want this to be on the album, but I know
Yeah.
it kind of has to be.
Yeah.
And I also think I was just thinking about this too, like the time to make music, I've never had it. Not
Mm.
like like my first album, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't like writing music and recording music before I was on the show. Not a lot anyways. I made one thing, but it kind of was, like, very juvenile.
Right.
And so right after I was on the show, we spent, what was it, like 3 months, 4 months making a whole album, and also I was on tour with Idol. So that was just crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't get to, like, spend time making music. And even with the second album, I had been touring so much that it felt very similar. I mean, maybe not, maybe a little bit more time. And I actually really liked that second album a lot. There, at least for the time that it was made.
Right.
Came out in 2012, I think. And I still think it's some people's favorite of mine, which is great. It's a fun pop record, which is cool. But then I got to spend, what, not very much time on the next thing, and then not very much time on the next thing. Not that, like, I just think that the idea of spending lots of time making something and, like, trying to get better and learning from all my experiences was maybe something I was craving, and I just did it. And I was trying not to rush myself. There was no reason to rush, so it felt nice and freeing and kind of celebratory whenever it came out. It wasn't like, "Oh, we're putting this thing out, but I wish we'd have done this." It was like, I can't wait to show this to friends
Mm.
and to fans and to listeners, because I feel like you're gonna love it, because
Yeah.
I think I do. In
Yeah.
fact, I know I do.
That's a great feeling. And it's interesting too, because I do oftentimes talk about like a Maren Morris who, came up as a songwriter in Nashville. She got some big cuts, and that's kind of like how she got around. And, I used to see her performing at rounds.
Mhm.
And and then she became Maren Morris. And the reason that first record, though, and I think Maren has a great catalog, but there's definitely some sleepers, and it's not like what my church was, and it wasn't the 80s Mercedes and the things that she put out on that first record. And people are like, yeah, like she's just either she's trying to go too mainstream or she's trying
Mhm.
this or that. And I always say, like, no, it's like that first record, she probably wrote it her whole life.
Yeah.
And so it was like the collection of these songs that she didn't go into a room and write for the record. She like these were the songs that she knew that if someday she got the opportunity, she'd put them
Mm.
out. And it sounds like this is kind of like what pole vaulter has become for you, is like this opportunity to like say what you want to say, have it sound the way you want it to sound. And maybe that explains, the gap year, which I'm now going to just say is probably the title of your next album. But I think that's, you were really putting together the craft.
I think so. I mean, I'm probably realizing that in this moment. Just this, I think I didn't start out as a songwriter. I started out as a person that wanted to play for people, play music, and I loved it. And I loved being on stage, and I loved performing at the pizza joint for $25 and 3 hours.
Hmm.
And I would sing as many songs as I possibly could, as long as people were listening. And even if they weren't listening, I didn't care. I loved it. And so that was never, songwriting was never like, oh, I have something to say, I have to do this. It was more of like, I think I want to do this because I want to perform.
Yeah.
And I do think that those things have switched. Not that I don't like performing. I love being on stage. But I think the reason that I do this now is because I like writing songs, and because I enjoy the craft of writing songs and figuring out what's best for a song, or like how to be clever without being too clever, or how to be really clever, or how to just say exactly what needs to be said without it. Like, when you catch that thing that is so hard to catch, that like moment when you're strumming something or playing a guitar line and also a lyric falls out of your mouth, you're like, all right, where did that come from? And then the rest of the song is just done in 2 hours.
Mm.
Those things don't happen all the time. And so, like, the being at the table and doing those things and trying to catch that is like the thing that I've been chasing. and now more than just performing for people. And because I think I could be wrong, but like the thing that people come up to me the most about is they enjoy the performances. I think so live, but if they're coming up to me and saying something to me about my music or my songs, it's not that like you did this tonight. It's more like that song. I'm so glad you sang that song because that song speaks to me in a way that I didn't even know that I needed it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, and it's it's interesting too that you mentioned that you're not a that you weren't a songwriter and you didn't feel like, that was you liked, the $25 pizza joint kind
Mhm.
of gig is also like when you were on Idol, you really like did sort of break the mold with Heartless,
Mhm.
which is obviously like so many people know that.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if you still perform it live, but
I did
I
the other night
okay.
in Arkansas.
Yeah, I know, but I know that you, like, bring people up on stage when you've done it in the past and stuff, like, it's, it was such a big pivotal moment, and I felt like after you did that, you started noticing on American Idol, like, more of the artists, like, tried to recreate, like, what you were doing,
Yeah, yeah.
which really was, like, you producing and you maybe not writing the song, but, like, you really took a creative approach that hadn't really been done before. And, we started this by talking about a Tim McGraw cover. Is like you actually like so, and you were on a cover show, but you did it in a way that like still felt so authentically you.
Mhm.
And even though you weren't maybe like at the time didn't feel like you were a songwriter, like you clearly had the gift for that art.
Yeah, I think I have a taste. I have, like, a taste in what I like and, like, the things that make me feel like me,
Mhm.
and so I tried to do that. I didn't always do that with every performance that I did with when I was on the show, but I think that like, me doing that Kanye song was literally something I would have done at the pizza spot,
Right.
and my friends were listening. Like, it was like, "This song is rad. How do I play this by myself and it sound like me?" And so that was that was the easiest thing that I did on the show. I wasn't trying too hard. It was I remember playing it for we have, like, vocal coaches,
Mhm.
and I had, Dorian and Michael Orland, and I played it for 'em, and they were like, "No notes?" They're like, "Do you want us to do anything?" And we like, "Do you want the band?" And I was like, "I don't think so." Even though that feels insane to not play with this band that's out there, they were like, "I think it's great. I think it's fine. I think you should be" and yeah, so I do feel like and just growing up playing music and all that, I've always played by myself a lot in my own room. So I know the things that, like, I'm capable of and I wanna sound like. So, yeah, it's
Did
always been in
you
there.
did you sense when you did that live, like, did you sense how big it was, like, in that moment? Could you tell, like, "Oh, this just redefined my place on the show," and, like, I know in interviews, like, and I said we weren't gonna talk about Idol, and here we
No,
are,
it's
but
fine. I'm
you,
fine to talk about it.
mentioned that, Adam was consistent all season, and, he was clearly, like, a front runner, like, early on just because of his vocal abilities and things and his, stage presence and all of the things that kind of came. But was there and maybe it wasn't Heartless, but was there a moment that you went like, I actually I've got this."
I think there was, like there were 2 moments. There was I remember doing Falling Slowly and feeling pretty good about it, feeling like this is kind of I like the idea that this is a little bit off the wall song choice and then, like, making it work. I liked that, and I felt like I'm at least here for a little bit longer, and I liked that. And I would say that Heartless, I didn't know because it was Heartless was top 3. So it was me and Adam and Danny. And I don't I knew I felt good about it and I knew it worked. I knew that like the thing that I wanted to happen
Happened.
worked. It like
Yeah.
worked. I didn't know if it was going to put me into the finale, because Danny's so good and Adam is so good, and they're very powerful in the way that they present themselves and the way that they sing, and so I just didn't know how that was gonna. Yeah, I don't know if I knew for sure, but I knew that I had a chance. Whereas
Yeah.
maybe before that, I don't know if I did.
Yeah. I mean, I do wonder if that's totally true because I feel like I mean, I think that Heartless won you the whole thing. So I that's why I was like, I wonder if you could feel it. And also, I know you're like probably more shielded at the time too, so you maybe didn't realize like the reaction to it. But
Yeah, that's a
I
huge part of
remembered
it.
like I was like, well, I think he won. I think he just won the show.
I wish you would have told me because no, I felt good about it. I felt really good about it. Like, I think I felt confident. I just didn't know if it was enough to get me to the next week just because Danny and Adam had done so much for themselves. But yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know anything. Like, social media wasn't a thing. So we didn't know how like big or not big something was. There were weird forums that you could look at.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. No, I think, and do you still keep in touch with any of the Idol folks? And I've had a number of different Idol contestants on the show from different seasons, and it seems like there's a good posse that usually comes out of each season that like does keep in touch.
Yeah, I would say there are a few people from my season that I keep in touch with. It wasn't too long ago. I had a long conversation with Adam, and it was so good. It had been a really long time since I talked to him. I've seen Danny here and there. I mean, there's a lot of us here in Nashville, so sometimes we just see each other. I would say the most consistent people that I see though are David Cook and Melinda Doolittle.
Mm,
Those are like we try to have lunch as much as possible, and I just love the both of them very dearly. But there's so many people from even my season. Like, I feel like me and Matt Gerard send random texts to each other. Me and Anoop talk about sports. Anytime that I'm in Utah, I'm always hoping to see Megan Joy just because she's an absolute just just a joy.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
so just a great person and so uplifting. Allison Irahita, anytime that I get to see her, is just like she was all of our little sister
yeah.
we were on the show and on tour and stuff. And so we
She
all,
was like a powerhouse.
oh my gosh,
Yeah,
if you want, like, she was my favorite. And that's no disrespect to anybody else that was on the show that season, but she was my favorite, and I was always hoping for her to get through, even over me, because just like I knew, I believed in her, and I still believe in her, and I think she's doing things for herself now, which is amazing, and I love seeing her success.
yeah. I think like it's tough on those types of shows too because it's like there was already Kelly Clarkson and there was and and even like some of the idols after Kelly Clarkson kind of started her career that started coming off the show and like even mimicking some of her sound and look and kind of going that direction.
Yeah,
And I think like that sort of worked against Allison in that way because I was like
maybe.
Allison was like such a powerhouse that I was like, oh
Huh.
yeah, this in the beginning I was like this could be the winner. But yeah, but she is super talented and it's just cool even just hearing you list off everyone's name like it's like it's such a I mean, and the show's still going on and there's so many people, but I mean back then like American Idol was like so magic and nowhere else in the world were you like really seeing these groups of people that all from all different walks of life that are so talented and then like they're coming together. It's like alumni, like you guys just it's like going to high school with these people, like you check in, you see them, like Adam's like, Freddie Mercury now and like it's like it's wild that you guys are all kind of doing this.
I do think that there was a beautiful thing about that era of the show where YouTube wasn't a thing. Putting out your own music was so hard to do and it seemed so like almost impossible. you know? And so I think the show did such a great job of finding these diamond in the rough sort of things. I don't think it was always that way. I do think that there was some people that were asked to be on the show or whatever around that time, but there I think that happens a ton now. Whereas back then, like, I had to
Oh, yeah.
wait in line for so long. It was like
Yeah.
12 hours with 14,000 people in Louisville where we all tried out. I don't think that's happening anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I feel blessed to be on the show when I was on the show because I think it was I would never try out now for the reason of like you're able to do a lot of the things that the show can do for you.
Right.
'Cause it just doesn't seem like there's promise of I don't wanna speak bad about the show, but, like, it doesn't seem like the, like, setup after the show is the same
Yeah. No,
as
I
what it
mean,
was.
yeah. And you know, when you were on the show was about finding stars. And that's what
Yeah,
it did back then, and that's why, like, you were able to just list a bunch of people, and that's just from your season, but when you start looking back, you're like, "Wow, like, there's a lot of stars and a lot of talent that came off of American Idol back then,"
oh
and
my
not to
gosh.
say that the people aren't that are on the shows now are not talented,
They're so
but,
talented.
you know, most of my listeners know, but and is, like, my best friend, Cassidy Pope, was the winner of The Voice, and she had a career before and, there was a lot of that, but, like,
Yes.
and she doesn't speak badly about the show, so I'm not speaking on her behalf, but, like, the shows now are not about finding talent. They're about entertainment and
Mhm.
about the judges and the personalities that they bring on and what they can do for TV ratings, and so they're not focused on I mean, the fact that you guys went on tour after the season, like, they
Yeah.
invested in, like, truly making you guys stars where they just don't do that anymore, and it's not the same show. It's about judges rather than talent, and like you said, now people can just go in their bedrooms and record an album and put it out, and
Yeah. I mean, that's not always easy to do either, and you're not promised anything when you do that, but at least, like, that opportunity is available to everyone, and I'm sure it was available in some way to me during that time, but I didn't know that, you know? I had spent like, my parents had to help me, like, make an album, and I had spent, like, what seemed like a astronomical amount of money to have a bunch of studio time, and, like but I wasn't putting it out on YouTube, I had a MySpace.
yeah,
Like, I couldn't even
yes,
put the whole thing on there, it was, like, 5 songs or whatever.
right, right, yeah, like the little EP
Yeah,
playlists. I mean, yeah, I mean, you've had this, what, 17, it's been like 17 years since Idol, since you won. And,
that's
you know,
wild.
obviously, like, it's also, we didn't talk a lot about your family, but married your high school sweetheart. You guys have been together almost what, 20 married 18 years, if I have it
Yes.
right.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I always forget because the show happened in 2009, we got married in 2008.
Yes.
So, it is 26 so almost 18 years, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And, we just talked about this kind of massive machine of American Idol. And obviously, you had so many rabid fans that voted every week and went on tour and followed you. And now, 17 years later, fans fall off, new
Mhm,
fans come.
mhm,
But if you could like talk to the people that were fans of Live Like We're Dying,
mm.
like what would you tell them about Pole Vaulter and where you are today musically?
That's a great question. People would I think people would probably suspect that, like, I don't like Live Like We're Dying, or that, like, I'm tired of it,
Hmm.
or, like, it's not who I am anymore, but it's weird, it's like, if I'm just speaking about that song in particular, it is, like, one of maybe 2 or 3 songs off that first album that feel the most like me, and I didn't even write it.
Hmm.
Whereas, like, I wrote most of the songs on that album. I was just trying to figure it out. So, Live Like We're Dying is still I still think about it very positively. I do feel like I'm singing someone else's song, though.
Mm,
now. Not in a bad
interesting.
way. I think, like, so much has happened and, like, I'm that song is so in my, like, muscle memory that I'm not having to think about it, and so it's like going I don't wanna think when I'm playing the song live, it doesn't feel like karaoke, but I
Mm.
think that in my head, I think about it like that a little bit,
It
where
was
but it
also I mean, it was around the time of Idol, so that makes sense because you were doing so many covers and that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
what came and so it was like it was your first song, but it was kind of coming off of the success of covers.
It was, and so, I just feel like I'm singing somebody else's song, but like a karaoke song that, like, I'm happy to sing,
Mm,
that, like,
yeah.
I'm gonna pick this one out because 'cause I'm gonna sing it, and everyone gets excited when they hear it, and it's kind of stood the test of time in a weird way.
Oh, yeah.
I don't it was played a lot, but maybe not too much, whereas, like,
Do you
some songs get played too much, and
right.
like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think that
Yeah.
was Live Like We're Dying. I feel like I'm not skirting your question, I'm just trying to, like, wrap my head around it a little bit. So, I do feel like the person that I am now is different from that person, and I feel like the music is more I mean, I had a friend tell me with pole vaulter, someone that I've known since college, who also makes music, who I've written songs with and all that. He was like, "Dude, this is easily you're the most you that I've ever heard you do." And he's known me singing at the pizza joints. And he was like, "I love that because of it." Where I think that that is I don't know, I think that I've just tried to get better. I've tried to be more real with myself. I've tried to get better at playing and producing and writing, and I think all that stuff has come out in especially the last album, and I think it's always been doing that since I started this whole process
Yeah.
17 years ago.
So if they loved Live Like We're Dying because they got introduced to you then,
Yeah,
this is a reintroduction of you now, and so
yeah,
they should give it a listen.
I think so. I feel like it's a reintroduction. Yeah, I don't feel like it feels the same. I don't feel like that first album and this one feel I don't think they feel like the same artist to me, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking too highly or differently about this than I should. But I think they feel very different to me.
Yeah, and as they should. I mean, we talked about, like, all the time that has passed, like, no one stays the same forever, and if you were still that artist that you were then, would you have evolved into anything that would be worth listening to? And I think now you've got more story to tell.
I think so. But I also, it comes with like caution of I think the next thing probably won't sound anything like the last thing.
Mm.
And I feel good about that. I don't know how good everybody else will feel about that.
Well, I mean, we know the title now. It's gonna be The Gap Year. So, while we wrap up, are you is what can, fans kind of, like, expect? Pole vaulter, you know, last record, but where are you going next? Or you mentioned a couple of songs or maybe are cooking and kind of on pause in the background. Are you putting something together or are you just kind of gonna take another little gap year?
I don't think so this is a thing, man. I've just had a long conversation the other day about this. I think I feel good about like a handful, maybe like a big handful of things, like songs. And I think I have an idea of what I want it to sound like, kind of. I need some help like figuring out what that might be. I think it's kind of a lonely sound. And so it might just be recorded. Who knows? I might record it by myself in this room or get a friend to help me out. I think that the idea of making the music sounds fun to me. The idea of doing all of the other things is really hard.
Mm, mhm.
And really and I'm not even saying this as like a woe is me sort of thing. It's just a lot. It's a whole lot when you're doing it by yourself. And so I'm struggling with that right now. Like I want to make this. I want to make like whatever these songs are and I want to make them sound the way that I want to, and I want people to hear them. But for people to hear them, you have to do so many different things right now, and you have to constantly be doing them. And it's just not something that it's exhausting. And also, like, when it doesn't happen or doesn't, like, something doesn't catch, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard if I'm being
Yeah.
like 1,000% honest. Like, we did it. We spent a ton of time, money, probably more than people would think, with content and putting things out on social media, which is not my forte, and paying money for ads and playing shows. And I love that album. I love Pole Vaulter. I still think it's my favorite thing I've ever done and been a part of. And I gladly play those songs by myself all the time just because they make me feel human and good about where I'm at in my life. It is hard to play those songs, to go out on the road away from my family, to like not as many full rooms as you would have as
Right.
before. And
Right.
so I'm struggling with that. Like, the idea, I'm just being real. The idea
Yeah.
of making the music sounds great. The idea of doing all the other things that you have to do, it seems like, to get the music heard is daunting at the
Grueling.
moment.
Yeah. No, it is. It's
And I don't
incredibly
know
hard.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that you can, upload songs, not to
Yeah.
MySpace anymore, but you can upload songs and we can find them and you can always put something out there and see, and you don't have
Yeah.
to tour it. So, you
That's
you
a
can.
that's on the table. That really is on the table, the idea of just like, why don't I just spend time creating and making things and then just putting it out? And then if something happens, great. If something doesn't, like, whatever, you did it and you feel good about it. And then go do it again, because I do enjoy it. Like, I enjoy the music making process more than I ever have. And that I enjoy that part. And it also keeps me at home because I'm just we're at a point in our lives where it's like our kids are weird ages. They're 6 to 12. And so if I'm gone for a weekend, I miss a ton of
Yeah.
things. And I don't want to miss anything anymore,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. Not to quote
And
Aerosmith.
there you go. There's another cover song. Well, Chris, I know I've kept you so long from your kids and
That's
family,
okay.
and I really appreciate that we made this happen and got to chat. I think it was a great chat. I really do hope that people go listen to Pole Vaulter and listen to what you have to say now, and I encourage you, like, keep telling the story and
Thanks,
lifting the
Chris.
veil on whatever it feels like. You know, we should hear and know we want to hear it because you got a lot of fans out there, and I know that it's a tough road. There's also a lot of music right now to consume, and so as a fan, it's tough to kind of like prioritize where you're at. But yeah, don't stop believing, as Journey would say. And
There's lots of really good music out right now. It's so, like, I love finding new stuff. And I'm like, I didn't even know that was who is this? And this is so good. So,
yeah, awesome.
yeah. Thank you,
Well,
Chris. Thank you. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
yeah, thank you, and tell fans where they can find you on the social media when you feel like posting.
So I'm on Instagram at Kris_Allen. I think I'm on TikTok, not very much, but Kris.Allen.official. I have a website, KrisAllenOfficial.com, and you can find stuff on there and chat with me. I also have a Patreon, and I really enjoy that. There's a lot of like it's a great community of people that love music, and it's just fun. We do like Zoom calls, and it's a blast, actually.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, go follow him. Continue to check out his tour schedule, what he's got going on, and for all of you listening, thanks so much. I'm Chris Vetrano. This has been Kris Allen, and that's the gist.